Hi, I'm totally not named Dan, but you can call me that if you want. I'm about to head off to a Digimon card game meetup, try out the card game in real life again. But before I do, I wanted to make a quick YouTube exclusive video to clarify a few things, because a lot of you have been asking me about my gay man. But the thing is, this isn't my gay man, it's Cutist's.
Hiya.
So, Cutist, you want to head over onto the tabletop simulator window and talk about what this means?
Let's go. You got really fancy goggles today.
Yeah, they hurt my forehead though because they're made of solid plastic, so I don't wear them for long streams.
Enough.
Alrighty, here we are in the tabletop simulator window, and as you can see, I have an egg here labeled One Gay Man.
Nice.
Inside this egg is a deck that both of us took to a retro tournament a fair while ago now.
Yep.
Based on classic character Mega Man 2 Dot.
And most of it wasn't even retro.
Yeah, but we'll get to that in a little bit. First of all, Cutist, you want to tell people how this deck started out life?
So when I first got into UniVersus, then got UFS, I thought, oh, which character am I going to play? And then I thought, I'm going to play the cutest character. And it was this one. And he actually turned out to be fun to play too, which is nice.
Yep, so what this character typically does is give keywords to attacks, and then commit his stuff to give the attacks plus damage based on the number of keywords. It's pretty simple and straightforward, but there's a lot of interaction with it, especially as one of the keywords is Breaker, which matters on your opponent's turn, and the other two are Powerful, which is a good kill keyword, and Stun 2, which is a good setup keyword, both during your turn.
Basically, you can give an attack any keyword you could want right now, any of those three.
So, this is the key character of the deck, and would you like to tell us a bit about how the original deck worked?
Oh, I mean, none of the cards are the same if you mean the original. That was very straightforward. Just give extra keywords, give all the damage bonus.
Yeah, so just making use of how Mega Man works. You took that to a retro tournament, and as I understand it, wasn't the best received. I don't think people were actively rude, but there was a definite air of, lol, look at this noob who doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, the commenters were, I'd say they were actively rude.
Okay. But a few of them did suggest a few things, including this card here, Prism Storm of Torment, which has a nice number of keywords and a nice amount of damage, and if you play it as your 7th card, you get to play it completely free. No control check.
And it comes in with a speed bonus too.
Yeah.
A hefty one at that.
Yeah, at 14 speed, it's borderline unblockable.
Indeed.
I mean, at 7 speed, it's hard.
And even if they have enough foundations to block it, you can deadlock stun 7.
Yes, if they try and force the block through with tons of foundations. So usually people don't go into deadlock.
Oh, I got to use it in a tournament.
Nice. Anyway, Prism Storm of Torment, great card, but it's a combo piece. It's not a card you just include in a deck. Why they suggested it, I'm not entirely certain, but it led to what we have here today.
Yeah, but the thing is also it works in conjunction with Mega Man because it gives damage per keyword, so it just raises the damage even more of this.
Yeah, alright, it goes to 11, maybe 12, but you add in Noob, going back to that lol noob idea, and it gets a lot stronger. Because Noob is a 3 difficulty, you play it right before you play your Prism Storm of Torment, and then when you play the Prism Storm of Torment, you flip the Noob, it gets plus 7 damage.
It's even better when you've got multiple noobs down.
Yeah, if you have 2 noobs down, that's plus 14 damage.
Yep, and I've had 2 noobs before in this situation.
A Noob works great on his own, but the thing that makes Noob even better is that we can stack Mega Men.
Indeed.
And the actual key Mega Man for this deck is Mega Man 3, who makes all your character cards minus 3 difficulty. So this goes from being a 3 difficulty noob that you're playing after you've played a few cards, you might have to commit some foundations for him, to a 0 difficulty noob that you're just having to pass a check against progressive for. So, you know, at most that's going to be a 5. So yeah, this Mega Man, excellent for the deck.
There's also a second reason.
Yep.
Because you want to play 7 cards to play Prism Storm of Torment for free, but you're playing a 6-hander, you want to draw as much as you want, and this Mega Man gets you a card draw, basically. So you can mill for an attack.
Yeah, this Mega Man lets you get rid of the top 4 cards of your deck once per turn and take an attack with printed difficulty less than or equal to 2 plus the number of character cards in your staging area.
And if you're fully Mega Man'd up, like if you got all 4, then you can actually fetch Prism Storm of Torment.
Yeah, if you've managed to gauge in or play all 4 copies of Mega Man 3 Dot, then you've got 5 Mega Men in play, which means 5 plus 2, 7, you can pick up the Prism Storm of Torment. The rest of the time you'll have to pick up a different attack, but even then, that'll be an additional card that you can play to do some extra damage and also get you closer to being able to play Prism Storm of Torment for free.
How does this work so well with each other? It's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? This just all came together wonderfully. The other nice thing is that because the 2-dot Mega Man gives stun 2, you can commit your opponent's stuff so that they're a lot less likely to be able to do anything about anything you play.
True.
So that's the key combo. So I guess we'll go to the actions next, because actions are a huge, huge part of this.
Because they let you play cards without clogging up the card pool, because most of actions have remove when you play them.
Yeah, in the judge test, they say, where do actions usually go at the end of the turn? I'm like, well, usually they've either gone to your discard pile or your RFG, but I guess if they happen to be around at end of turn, you clear them from the card pool and they go to discard. But it's just such a weird question, because usually they're not even in your card pool at end of turn. They don't usually hang around.
Indeed, which is perfect for this deck. Also, if you got some spares, they're also still good to buff up Prism Storm of Torment.
Yeah, we'll get to that. The first action we'll look at is Mega Slide.
Yes.
Mega Slide says after you block a high attack with this card, it deals no damage.
My favorite UniVersus effect.
Yeah. And it's also a full block against mid, so unless your opponent's using a throw, you'll take no damage from mid either. You'll only take half damage from lows.
Oh yeah, I guess it's only half of my favorite UniVersus effect.
Yeah, you prefer the take no damage, but...
Yeah, but still nice. I mean, it's just an extra for this.
Yeah. Yeah, the real reason you play that is the E, which is discard the top 3 cards of your deck, add an attack with 2 or more keywords discarded to your hand.
Which is any attack.
Then you discard this from your card pool. And yeah, every attack in this deck has 2 or more keywords. So this basically just says, if in the top 3 cards of your deck there's an attack, you get it to your hand, and then stuff the other 2 cards into your discard pile. And you'll see why having cards in your discard pile matters in a second.
But yeah, it's still good for card draw.
Yep, that draws you a card, essentially. And also it just leaves your card pool, so it's a free play, basically.
And you could draw your Prism Storm of Torment.
Yeah, you could draw your Prism Storm of Torment with that in a way that's a lot easier than with Mega Man 3-dot.
Indeed.
Next up, speaking of fishing for cards we want, Here We Go. Here We Go says E-remove...
First of all, can I mention how insane a block this is?
Yeah, it's a 0-diff breaker too. Presumably because, unlike attacks in Foundations, it doesn't actively help your game plan. Except in this deck, it really does.
Indeed.
So, the first ability is E-remove, attach 1 character card from your discard pile that you could normally attach to your starting character. You can just pick up any of your Mega Men absolutely free, get that F on the Mega Man to do the extra card pickup if you need to.
Yep.
Also, off the number of that extra card pickup, get you closer to being able to pick up Prism Storm of Torment. And just generally, that's a really good effect. But it's not nearly as good as the second one, which is add 1 character card from your discard pile to your hand. Which means, rather than just fetching a Mega Man that you could normally add to your staging area, you can also fetch a character that doesn't share a name with your starting character. Like this Noob.
Like Noob.
So you can use this to pick up Noob. It removes from game before it even enters your card pool. So it's not clogging up anything, but it does still count as a play.
Yep.
And now you've got Noob in your hand as an extra card to play, which also buffs your finisher massively. Yep. And it's just ridiculous. This card is way too good. Certainly in this deck. And then, more in line with what Mega Man wants to do, normally, is Demon Realm Awakening here. Demon Realm Awakening is E-remove. This attack gets +1 or -1 damage for each of its keywords. So decent defensive card, but also it can buff your own attacks, and we know our own attacks have around 4 or 5 keywords each.
Yes.
So that's some nice damage.
Again, kind of. Also, it lets you draw a free card afterwards, which is insane.
Also, you draw a card to replace the Demon Realm Awakening. So, because it draws you a card, that means that that's essentially upping your hand size by 1. At least in a deck where basically what matters is your storm count, if you're a Magic the Gathering player. The number of cards you've played, not what they've done.
Yeah.
And it's only 1 difficulty, so even after you manage to get down your Prism Storm of Torment, it's not unreasonable to think that you might be able to play it. So you could even buff your finisher with it.
And the deadlock is really useful if it ever happens.
Yeah, the deadlock I've never seen happen, but if it does, you can just fish extra copies of this out of your discard pile in addition to the card draw to really up your hand size.
So also if you use it to count towards those 7 cards you played, then you can fetch another one to buff Prism Storm of Torment in the end.
Yep. It also has our card pool remove for its defensive ability. After you block with this, you draw a card. It moves out of your card pool, so it's not counted towards progressive difficulty on your next block. And if the blocked card was a throw attack, it deals no damage as well, so negate throws.
It's just insane on its own. This is an insane card.
So that block is insanely good, but the thing is, playing cards just for blocks is not insanely good at all. So it's only because the top ability is so good in this deck that this card gets insane, I think. Though it is decent in other combo decks as well. Then we have probably the most degenerate of the actions here. These ones genuinely broken.
I mean,
Big shot punch.
any deck that runs on those symbols, you gotta include them. There's no reason not to.
Certainly any deck that has any means of filling its discard pile, which we've already seen we have several of. And fire as a symbol really likes to do that, though we're actually running off order. The big shot punch, big shot Judy. One blocks on a high, one blocks on a low. Both remove and fetch the other one from your discard pile. So you can just infinite loop the two. And, well, I say infinite. You can only loop them until you completely run out of big shots, but that's 8 cards. And each one gives either +3 or -3 speed if it's a Judy, and damage if it's a punch.
And someone thought it needed a 6 check.
Yeah. Someone thought they needed a 6 check to be viable as well. We'll talk about how many 6 checks we're running in a moment, because that's another reason why this deck is so good. But first of all, this is basically an alternate win con, because it gives +12/+12 to one of your attacks.
Indeed.
But also, it just adds extra damage to your Prism Storm of Torment if you need it to. It is an easy way to fish up extra cards to play and then remove from your card pool. And if you really need it to on defense, either one of these can fetch the other one, so it's basically a multi-zone block. And
which also reduces damage and speed at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So they are absolutely crazy on both offense and defense, like a lot of these actions are.
And checking.
Yeah, and checking.
So there's no place where they're not good. Except
these
the
are the
RFG
actions.
pile, I guess.
Yeah, the RFG pile, they're not great.
That's a higher than usual amount of actions in a deck.
Yeah, very, very few decks run 6 different actions. Wait, sorry, 5 different actions, because that's a character card.
Yeah.
I mean, Noob's basically your 6th action, though, right?
Yeah, kind of. I like it that they designed a character you can use with other characters.
Yes, but I do think this one's a bit degenerate.
Yeah, it's broken. I mean, this deck is broken. But the reason you still won't win in tournaments with this is because it takes too much time to execute.
Well, it doesn't take a ton of time to execute if you know what everything does, including your opponent's cards. But the problem with this, I found, was that when I go against another really aggressive, high vitality deck with this, neither of us wants to go in until we're certain we can kill, which just means we go to turn 5, even though we're both aggressive decks. And turns are long in UniVersus. If you go to turn 5, you're not going to finish 3 games.
No.
Right. We're going to look at foundations next, and the first one of those is Bearer of the Mackay Whistle.
Again, really appreciated stats alone.
Yep, it's a 0/6. So really easy to play. Check's great, but also has E-flip. Your attack gets -2 to its gauge rating. You may search your deck for a character card and add it to your discard pile. So this puts a noob in your discard pile to fetch with Here We Go. And it then also gives your attacks -gauge, so they'll pick up characters more easily. Gauge being if this attack deals X or more damage, then you find a character from your deck or discard pile and put it into play, where X is the gauge rating. So you lower the gauge rating by 2, your attack doesn't have to do as much damage. Makes it a lot easier for your attacks to gauge. Makes it a lot easier for you to fetch your Mega Man 3-dot.
And the top enhance is the first enhance we've seen, which is actually useless.
Well, yeah, this enhance is not good for this deck, but it's E-remove, add 1 card from your opponent's removed from game pile to the top of their deck. So what you can do is if your opponent's removing a lot of attacks to the game for effects, you can put an attack on top. Oh, look, they're checking a 3. That's basically what that does. It's not great here, but it does something. Right, here we have Passing the Torch. Passing the Torch is a 2 difficulty, which is relatively high for a foundation. It's not crazy high, but it's more difficult than most of the things in our deck. And this is E-commit. either draw 1 card, or if you have no cards in hand, draw 2 cards. Now,
it's basically there for card draw, so you
Yeah.
can play the 7 cards for Prism.
this is a really good card in any deck. In this deck, it's actually not performing its best in terms of raw card draw power, because we will almost never have no cards in hand. What it does do is it draws you that extra card to put you up to a 7-hander, which is exactly what this deck needs. You may notice that a lot of these effects are eased, though, which is why we're running attacks,
Exactly.
or at least a large part of why we're running attacks. They do also gauge us up characters and do that extra little bit of damage.
And something... Oh, we'll see
The final
later.
foundation we're playing, and yes, this is really the final foundation we're playing. We are only running 11 foundations in this deck.
That's insane.
Is another 0/6. No block on this
Love
one.
it.
We're actually just running this because it's a 0/6. But at the same time,
Oh, the effect has come in useful
yeah, the
during
effect
playtesting.
does occasionally come in useful, and it's destroy this foundation. After your opponent plays an ability that would decrease the damage of an attack, cancel its effects, playable while committed. So
One of
basically,
the 2 non-standard cards in this deck. It's basically Instability and Mega Slide.
yeah, because they recently reprinted Mega Man 2.
Yes, which I'm salty about, but I won't get into that on this video.
So, yeah, that basically stops them reducing the damage of your Prism Storm of Torment, so you know it's going to kill.
Yep.
And because it's playable while committed, it doesn't care whether you commit this or not. So you can very easily commit this for the cost of Mega Man's E, his bottom effect. Oh.
Indeed. But there's more foundations you've missed, yeah.
Yeah, I scrolled down by mistake, okay.
That's
Ignore
alright,
that thing I
doesn't
said
matter.
earlier.
Oh yeah, we don't have 11 foundations, we've got more than 11.
Yeah, we got 19 actually, which is not too terrible.
Yeah.
So the last 2 foundations, which I accidentally missed, are Malfestation, which is another 1/6, which is great. The reason we're running that is not for that reason. It's because after this card is committed due to a stun ability, or to pay the cost of an ability, and, you know, we're going to be using that for cost of this Mega Man E,
Yep.
your opponent commits 1 foundation.
Yep.
So basically, you just stun them 1 when you use that Mega Man E, which is really nice. And then we got Movie Star, which buffs your attack when you commit it instead.
It's again really good offensively and defensively.
No, it's not great defensively, to be honest. Because...
Yeah, no, but its other use is, if you look at the enhance, commit if this attack has the breaker keyword, draw 1 card.
Yeah, but
And
that's
you
not
can
if... That doesn't work on your blocks, is what I'm saying.
True, yeah.
That's not useful defensively. But what that is
But it's useful
for...
aggressively because it gets you to draw a card, because you can give any attack breaker
exactly.
with Mega Man.
If you need to draw a card, you use Mega Man to give your attack breaker, and then you commit this to draw a card.
Movie Star works way too well with 2. Mega Man.
So Movie Star is a slightly worse version of Passing the Torch that costs you 1 less to play and also gives +2 damage as a bonus effect.
Indeed.
So, you know, not a bad card at all in this deck.
Nope. I mean, that's one of the ones I've been running most consistently with this character.
Yeah, because it does combo with them crazy well. Then we'll look at the attacks. We're only running 2 different attacks.
Well, apart from Prism Storm of Torment, obviously.
Okay, yeah, we're only running 2 different attacks that aren't our kill card. We have Lightning Shot, which is a 4 difficulty, gauge 3 attack with 3 keywords.
So we were looking at 3 criteria for the attacks. First, they have to be cheap for difficulty.
Yep.
Second, they have to have gauge to Mega Man up.
Yep.
And third, they got to stun your opponent.
Well, the stun helps a lot, but the fun thing about this one is it doesn't have stun printed on it. Instead, it has an E, which gives it stun equal to the number of characters in your staging area, but caps at 3. Oh, and also cancel ones in your discard pile. So basically... 1 use of Bearer of the Mackay Whistle, and that's already up to 3. And you stun your opponent for 3, but also, because it doesn't have stun initially, you can give it the keyword with Mega Man, because Mega Man only gives it a keyword it doesn't have already. You can actually make it a total of stun 5.
Yes.
Which is absolutely insane. Especially on just a 4 difficulty as well. And then if your opponent readies 1 or more of their foundations, you get to flip them.
Oh, I keep forgetting that part.
Because of the R on this card, and that's any time this card is in your card pool. So if you block with this, you get that effect. If you play this, and then they ready their cards 3 attacks later, you still get this effect. It just really shuts them down.
That shows I haven't playtested this enough.
I've not used that effect much in play, but it has happened occasionally, and it is quite good.
Yep.
That's the first one. That gauge is on a 3, but we can make that a gauge 1.
So even if they half block it.
Yep. Even if they partial it. Also, though, we can buff the damage by at least 4, right?
Oh, yeah, the stun on the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, you give it stun on the bottom, so you can buff it by at least 4, which means it's going to be hitting for 4 if they partial block it anyway. You plus that damage to say, if you partial this, I am getting the Mega Man, even if you don't have the reduction to the gauge from Bearer of the Mackay Whistle. So that is going through. That is, fetch you your Mega Man, and then you can use your Mega Man's ability right after that, because it's an F, to fetch your next attack.
Yes.
Which may or may not be a Graceful Rouge. So Graceful Rouge,
in some way similar to the other one.
Yeah, Graceful Rouge is gauge 3
but
again.
worse, I guess, yeah.
And again, give itself stun, but this time it only gives stun 2 and you have to commit a foundation, so it is actually worse, yes. But you can still end up stunning for 4 with it.
It has one more keyword and does more damage after that.
Yeah, it has a little bit more base damage. So even if you don't buff it at all or reduce its gauge, if partially blocked, it will round up to a 3 and fetch you a Mega Man. So that's the real advantage of this.
Also, as we've seen, committing a foundation can buff it with some of our foundations in this deck.
Yep. But this does also have reversal, which, while not used very often, means you can attack your opponent during their turn. And if you do, this has an E which says if it deals damage, the next card you play ignores progressive difficulty. So you get to play your next block or your next defensive action pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, don't think I've used that before though.
No, I mean, we don't really want to play reversals in this deck.
Yeah, we need attacks on our turn for the enhancers, because the enhancers let us play more cards.
So, that's all the cards in the deck, but let's look at the numbers a bit. We got our starting character, who we can ignore because they're taken out at the start of the game. Then we've got 2 more characters, but unlike most characters, these both have a 3 difficulty, and when one of the Mega Man 3 dots is in play, they become 0 difficulty, so they're really cheap and easy to play, yet they still check a 6. And that checking a 6 is pretty important. Other cards that check a 6 are Big Shots, and Bearer of the Mackay Whistle, Instability, Malfestation.
None of the other actions?
No, none of the other actions, but even so, that's 7 different cards that check a 6 for a total of...
How many are those? 27?
Yeah, 27 in 59 cards. That's very, very close to half the deck is 6 checks. So you've got
an almost 50% chance for 6 check.
Yep, and if you don't check a 6, most of the remaining cards are 5 checks.
That's not the upside of not running too many attacks.
Yeah, we got 5 different 5 checks, all played at 4 copies each. So that's 47 cards that don't check below a 5. And then the 12 remaining cards are our attacks, including our kill card. These attacks both check a 3, which is, the best you're going to get out of an attack, unless it's that one crazy one from Hikari. I think that was his name. And then our kill card, also a 3, but also we get to play it for free. So the 2 most expensive things to play in the deck are Lightning Shot and Graceful Rouge at 4, which is not bad at all. And then everything else is, these are zeros, essentially, unless you absolutely have to play a Mega Man from hand before you gauge one. These are 2s.
It might be worth it on the first turn, we'll see.
We got a couple zeros, a 1, another 1, a 2. This one's a 3, which is pretty high.
But it is really good. It's worth it.
Oh, it's way worth it, because it's basically you just played your character or better.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically, you can very easily play a whole bunch of cards.
So in short, the synergy is strong with this deck.
The other neat thing is if your opponent blocks one of your attacks and tries to reversal you, you know what you do? You block them and reversal right back, because if you fail the block, doesn't matter. Prism Storm of Torment looks at the number of cards you've attempted to play.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And if you fail the reversal, again, doesn't matter. You're not playing the card as a form during your turn. You're playing it as a response. So you can play Graceful Rouge as a reversal during your turn. And if it fails, oh well. That means it's left your card pool, isn't clogging anything up. And on top of that, it counts as a card attempted to play for Prism Storm of Torment. The even better thing is blocking with Noob. Because that gets Noob into the card pool, where Noob can do Noob's effect.
Well, except if the block fails, then that wouldn't be so good.
Yeah, at that point, you do have to make sure that the block succeeds, but it's a 2 for 1. You blocked them, and you got the card you were going to play anyway into your card pool. And then you can still reversal and just choose not to use the response on your reversal, if your reversal somehow succeeds. So yeah, that's this deck. It is absolutely crazy. This is the most degenerate Mega Man deck we could make. We worked this out together. This is very much Cutist's deck, but I asked him to be able to play it in that retro tournament because I thought it was genuinely worth doing. And I still think it's genuinely worth doing. It is absolutely insane.
Kind of want to update it for standard, now that Mega Man 2 is in standard.
So the cards that aren't in standard here are Mega Slide, which is one of the cards that puts things into your discard pile. So without Mega Slide, the Punch and Judy get a bit worse.
Mm.
And the other one is Instability, which really it's just stats and a safety measure. You don't absolutely need it. You could replace that with all sorts of other things, maybe things that even block.
Yeah, there might be better stuff out there, who knows? But I wouldn't want to replace it with a 6-check probably, because I like the insane number of 6-checks in this thing.
Yeah, keeping the 6 checks up high is good.
Also, there's another potential issue for the near future.
Yeah?
Passing the torch might change, because it's a demo deck card.
So until such time as the finished version of Passing the Torch is released, it is legal in tournaments as printed. When MHA comes out, I'm pretty sure Mega Man 3 Dot also rotates, does he not?
Oh, I thought there was another set for that. Let me check.
No, there's not another set before Battle for Power rotates, so unless he's been printed as a promo in some form, he won't be legal anymore.
Oh, that'd be a shame. He's an important card, yeah.
So this is only a standard format deck for a short while, but if you take these 2 cards out and replace them with something, you could very easily play this in standard for the time being. And that's it. That's Cutist's Game Man deck.
Indeed.
Enjoy.
Very fun to play.
And have a happy Pride Month.
Yeah, happy Pride Month.
Bye.
Bye.